If anybody's watching, oh, hey, we're live now, man. I'm sorry, we were talking.
That's okay. We're okay. We got it. We had the intro and everything, which we'll have tomorrow, guys. So welcome in. If you're just now seeing us, we're going to kind of reverb into it. This is our MLB DFS preview. We got our boy Pete Cole here at YFC Sports P at YFC Sports V12. And we're here, guys. MLB opening day. We're ready to roll. Obviously, Pete, you've been waiting for this for a long time. And, you know, we're working on a new streaming platform.
Yeah, so we apologize.
You know, Mickey Gervais and everything like that set us up there. So, and we have these shows scheduled every morning for you. So obviously we want you to wake up here with our hit and run. And, you know, it's something for you guys to jump in on your way to work, your morning coffee, whatever you guys decide to do. So welcome in. We're going to have some coaches in that are going to be on as well, that are going to be posting stuff in our chats. But Pete and I are here to cover opening day, and we were already recording, and we had some gems for you that you're never going to see because that was actually offline. So
yeah, we just talked for 10 minutes on the first game. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. No, I think we're going to just touch a little bit. We were talking about our FanDuel first game. We're going to focus mainly on the DraftKings slate, which I believe is 6 games currently. Pete, is that right?
It's 6. Yeah, it's 6 games right now. Yeah.
All right.
And I think all the games are good to go too. All because they moved back the Washington Mets game to 7 o'clock. So I think we're good with weather on that. So that's waiting on wheelhouse too. 6 games is good to go.
That is absolutely excellent. So we're going to kind of go game by game today, guys, and we're going to talk a little bit about each one. We're going to focusing on the pitching. We're going to be focused on hitting that we like and kind of where we're going to be in the chat as well. If we have it on there, I think that I can probably post it again for you guys, but I want to post our Discord for your Fielder's Choice. It is a free Discord for you to jump in. Obviously, we have a promo that Pete's going to tell you about here in a second, where you can get all of our MLB content for a monthly fee. That's one of the lowest in the industry. But obviously, this is one of our, if not our flagship sport, as you can tell by our logo. We're big MLB, diamond heads here, and like this is our time, man. We love opening day. We love baseball. We get excited, but we're going to kind of reference some things as the season starts, and we're just going to talk about what we see, pulling data from the last couple of seasons. And then as the season progresses on, we'll be able to pull in more recent data as well for you. So Pete, tell them a little bit about our Discord promo, our website promo right now.
Yeah, and welcome, guys. So we got a little warm up. We talked for 10 minutes without anybody watching, obviously, but we're on the air now. Thanks for tuning in. YourFieldersChoice.com. We have a promo, $25 a month, first 2 months. That includes all sports. And especially this time of year, your Fielder's Choice, niche sports is our specialty beside MLB, and we've been crushing niche sports. Adam is one of our main soccer guys. I was just thinking on the air, I mean, I've been playing MLB DFS for 10 years now, never had a losing season. I mean, I'm not going to say toot my horn, but I mean, it's been profitable. I do this for a living. This is my job. But soccer crushed yesterday. We had a guy, 8K, won 8K yesterday. College sports, everybody knows about our college sports. We do a show 3 times a week. Me and Adam have been around for a long time. This is not our first site working together. We've worked with other sites together. Check us out. You're not going to go wrong for $25 a month. And that includes every single sport.
That's right.
Pretty much, if DK covers it, we cover it. Tennis. Our tennis guy is great. I mean, our tennis stats are crazy. I don't pay attention to tennis, but the numbers these guys are putting up. Formula One.
Always winning, man. They got these cheat sheets, their cores. That's in our Discords, obviously, as well. And like Pete touched on, obviously Masters is today, so we're celebrating that. I actually had some golf lineups got put in. My boy, or our boy, I guess, Tiger Woods, depending on how you look at him. I mean, everybody's super excited. Anytime he's around, there's a different energy about the tournament. But Brooks Koepka is kind of my pick to win it. Had some things go out, but check out the Discord. Obviously, check our website. There's a ton of stuff out there. We'll probably be covering Masters Showdown rounds with our golf team. These guys are much more knowledgeable. My golf game, Pete, pretty much relies on me going out there and drinking a beer per hole and trying to make it home. No,
hitting people. I pull the ball in golf. I see Jeremy Burton you're watching. Jeremy Burton actually had a nice hit in tennis yesterday, I think it was. So congratulations to Jeremy.
Yeah. And you touched on our Champions League soccer. One of our guys hit 8K, one of our subs coming in, and Riley is our soccer guy too. And I'm contributing in that sport, and he's doing some of these awesome videos. And the guy watched the video, made a lineup, listened to some notes in Discord, and he's 8K richer. So that's nice. On what I think it was like a $15 entry. It was something crazy. But anyways, all that being said, Pete, we're here for MLB. We're here for opening day. You got me up early. I'm ready to roll. I'm actually up all the time this early. The kids wake me up. But I think we just jump right in. Let's touch on this FanDuel game, and then we'll go and bounce into DraftKings real quick.
Yeah, well, actually, you just take the lead. You've been doing a good job here taking the lead here. So take the lead on the first game if you want. Well,
absolutely. No, we're going to talk about FanDuel a little bit here. We, they have like a we are doing the first game for FanDuel, and what the game looks like is a interdivisional game, Milwaukee, Chicago. We're pretty much all about Corbin Burns here. We kind of talked about him, talked about some stats in regards to just playing this on FanDuel as a single game slate. Obviously putting somebody, in your top position, which is like we're used to more probably a DraftKings build where we're getting penalized 1.5 times salary for 1.5 the return on that. But obviously, I think that he's our guy, right? I mean, I don't think there's anything about it. We're looking at data on here, and we're talking about some hitters that we like, but Kyle Hendricks is starting on the other side, kind of a pedestrian pitcher, kind of a journeyman guy. He's an inning eater. But yeah, I mean, tell me what you like about Corbin Burns real quick before we move into hitting.
And even though we're saying this is FanDuel, I mean, this FanDuel slate starts at 2 and DK really starts at 4:10, I guess it is. You can play this game on Showdown DK. And the more I'm looking at this, I may, because you play DK Showdowns when you have stud pitchers, and we have a stud pitcher going, so like I said, Burns. So when you play, and especially Showdown Cash, you put Burns into your captain spot, load him up. On the other side, I mean, Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks is the type of guy that, I mean, he's not going to strike people out. His xFIP's terrible and all that, but he's also not going to give up, a whole crap load of runs. So both those guys, get him in your Showdown lineup. Burns captain, Kyle Hendricks utility, and go from there. But yeah, I think Burns would be probably the top pitcher on the slate. The only worry I would have is the weather. It's cold, it's windy, it's wet. I was just looking at Kevin Ross from RG, his little forecast, but the winds are blowing out the center 20 miles an hour. But when the temps are in the 40s, it's not like you're going to have a bunch of home runs here. So to me, it's all about Corbin Burns. Remember, FanDuel is a one-pitcher site. I'm not a big FanDuel guy, but I used to play it a lot. But it's Burns is probably your pitcher here.
Yeah,
and that's with Kyle Hendricks.
That's right. I mean, win regardless. I think, just to kind of touch real quick, like you said, I mentioned this in our pre-show segment, but Corbin Burns, 266 xFIP, essentially gathering all the data of expected events, balls into play, pitches and whatnot. I mean, 36.2% strikeout rate, 16.6 swinging strike rate, which means he has really good stuff. But I mean, even if he's pitching to contact, he's a near 50% ground ball rate. He's not righty or lefty dependent. You can't, people are so concerned about lefty versus righty versus lefty matchups, which that is important a lot of times because you're getting a better look just from playing baseball. You can see a left-hander much better as a right-handed hitter, and then vice versa. And I know we got some guys like, Corey and everybody that they've actually played a little bit higher levels and stuff like that. They would kind of agree on some of these things, but in the game, Corbin Burns is just a real big game pitcher. He's grown into this role. 0.080 ISO, 0.058 ISO. That's lefty and then righty. I mean, the guy has pretty much been untouchable. And even if he gets a run off of him, he's going to be high owned, I think, anyway. So for your cash lineups, absolutely put him at the top. Hitting wise, obviously, if you're going to go with anybody from a Chicago standpoint, there's not a lot to love there. That you got your switch hitters and Ian Happ, obviously. Patrick Wisdom kind of showed up a little bit last year. People kind of have mixed reviews on him. Frank Swindell, he's somebody I think that some people have kind of touted, but there's nobody that I'm really in love with. The Chicago lineup to me is kind of gross, Pete. I don't know if you've seen anything.
Yeah.
I do like the Milwaukee side of things, and I think we talked a little bit about BVP, Colton Wong. You've seen Wong. You've been around a long time, Pete. I mean, do you like this? I mean, what do we say? 52 plate appearances, 17 hits, a couple dongs against him, 362 average, 575 slugging. Tell me what you're looking at bats wise.
Yeah, and usually I'll get BVPs when I set my BVP. I set it for like 12 at bats. But yeah, Wong's got a great sample size. I'm really looking at, if I'm looking at two players in this game, I'm looking at Rowdy Tellez. Definitely get beyond lefties against Hendricks. We know Tellez got some pop, and he hit righties last year, decent 418 slugging. So I don't mind Rowdy Tellez. And then if I'm running GVPs, and that's about it, is maybe take a chance on Christian Yelich. As you said, lefties last year crushed Hendricks at home. So. Yeah. You
Yeah,
got the bat.
yeah.
You're playing Hendricks at home. Play those bats. Yelich is, we've all talked about Yelich over the last couple of years, but still, what's he $3,300 on FanDuel? Christian Yelich at GBP only, but I think Yelich's definitely in play against Hendricks.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously Hendricks is going to be beatable. That he's not very good against lefties, especially the last couple of years. Righties, he's not doing too bad, but I mean, lefties have, well, actually he's getting hit pretty hard on both sides of the plate, Pete, near 40% on both sides of the plate. That hard hit rate spiking. You got a couple of masters in this lineup. Willie Adames, shout out to him. He's on my season long league, but he's come up there batting in that 2-hole. He's going to be kind of sneaky as a right-hander. Not a lot of people are going to play him for GPP. You might be able to get lower ownership on him. And he's got a lot of pop. I mean, he hits the ball pretty hard, but like you said, you hit it. Yelich, Rowdy Tellez, Hunter Renfroe, he can hit bombs. Omar Narvaez is probably going to be somebody that I'm going to look at. I think that from a salary standpoint, people are going to look at him and be like, okay, he's a left-hander, he's a catcher, but only $6K salary right now. I get it. Like, he's lower in the order, but he's one of those guys that we've always played in DFS over the years, and we really like him. We just feel like he's got pop. He's a catcher that can hit. He can kind of cover that outside part of the plate from a heat map standpoint. Hendricks is pretty good at spotting the ball. He just doesn't have great stuff. So he's going to throw that sinker away from the righties, that little fastball with a little sinking action, and to the lefties, he's going to try to mix it up with some changeup. But he's only throwing 87 on his fastball. His changeup's around 80, 79, 80. I mean, for major league hitters, like if you don't have this, a differential that's at least 10 miles per hour difference, it's going to be a little bit more hittable, in my opinion. So yeah, that's all I have on this game, Pete. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover?
Let's go to DK. Let's go to the real site.
Let's get into the meat and potatoes of it. We want to keep this timely for you guys as you go on your daily drive to work, or you're drinking coffee or whatever it is. And, as we go through the season, obviously we're going to keep cruising along. So tell us real quick, Pete, this slate is weather-wise, how are we looking right now?
It's actually much better than we thought it was going to be a couple days ago. We got the rain outs out of the way. We got the Yankee game wasn't even on the main slate anyways, but that game, the Milwaukee game, the Minnesota-Seattle game got canceled. So we're pretty good. The Mets game that was supposed to be 4:05 got pushed back to like 7:05, which now the slate starts now at 4:10. So that's going to help the weather. Definitely a really nice move that Washington did. It's going to be cold, so not great hitting weather. And I really like actually McGill in that game. And then we see Kansas. It's going to be cold in the Kansas City Cleveland game. It's going to be cold in the Pittsburgh St. Louis game. Okay. It's going to be cold. Obviously cold everywhere. It's actually warm, and it's warm in Anaheim. I see that's the only warm game, but there's no main problems. It looks like we're going to go ahead and have a nice 6-game slate here. So I said 6 games is right in my wheelhouse. I love 6-game slate.
That's right. And from a betting standpoint, guys, we don't have anything over, at least that I'm looking at, over 5 on the implied runs total. Those are usually games that we're focusing in on, like, hey, man, this team has an over 5 total. You see a lot of Coors slates and everything like that. So everything's on there. I think the Padres are probably the highest right now at 4.9. So digging in, we got Cleveland KC up first. Pitching from that game, Pete. What are you seeing? You got Greinke versus Bieber. Tell me a little bit about going in from spring training into opening day, or the first week or first couple weeks. What are we looking at with pitching?
All right, so Shane Bieber. So obviously Shane Bieber's too cheap here. I do have some concerns from Bieber a little bit. I mean, they're in Kansas City. Bieber got shut down last year, mid-June, came back for 2 starts at the end of September, threw 3 innings each. But he's saying, I saw an interview yesterday, he's saying he's 100%. You can't beat the price. He's going to be chalky. So he probably is my favorite cash play of the slate. I think he's going to be highest owned. Nice matchup, even though KC does have a little bit of a different lineup this year with the kid, with Bobby Witt in there, batting second. But man, this guy's a big time. Bieber's a big time pitcher. I mean, so you really can look at last year's stats. So if we go the last 3 years, here's a guy 33% K rate, and he does the both sides. 34 to lefties, 31% to righties. The xFIP is almost elite, 3.03. So big time pitcher. I don't think he's going to get over 90 pitches. I could see 80. Like, maybe if he gets in that 5th inning, if he's breezing along, he may go there. But if he's struggling, he's definitely not going to see 90. He may not see 5 innings. So And that's my main concern here, because once Bieber goes, this Cleveland bullpen is atrocious, and that's why I like the KC bats. So it's kind of a GVP / cash game. But to me, Bieber's got to be your cash play, just because that strikeout ability. I mean, limits walks. He does give some hard. He does give a little hard contact, 43% in the last 3 years. But I wouldn't be worried about that. So once again, Kansas City is touchy. They could go off in GVP, but still, Bieber is, I think, probably your SP1 in cash.
Yeah, I agree. He's kind of that strikeout pitcher. Has really good stuff, but he can definitely get hit hard. That's one of the issues he's always kind of faced over the years. And I think that you're pulling in, 2019 through 2021 data. Yeah. If you go 2020 to 2021, the last 2 seasons, his xFIP has dropped. So obviously he's gotten better as the years go. Health is going to be a big worry, but you're right. Ownership wise and everything like that, K-Ray, I mean, I think this KC lineup is predicting, around looks like about low 20s, 22, 23% K rate probably as a team. Obviously Bobby Witt in there. He may get some, first game, welcome to the show jitters. We're excited to kind of watch that talent. Obviously, number 1 prospect, coming in playing for the Royals today, batting in projected in the 2-hole. Yeah, I agree with you, man. Bieber, he seems to be pretty much a lot. Greinke, I'll tell you, just from an Astros fandom standpoint, he seems to be deteriorating. Obviously, pitch count's not really been there. The guy seems like he's laboring whenever he's throwing I don't think it was necessarily that he's hurt. I just think the further he gets in his career, he has to be a different kind of pitcher. So he's got to adjust,
You got to change.
What do you think about Greinke?
We all know, most of us know he's a reverse splits pitcher. He's been the last few years of his career. He's a soft tosser now. He said, like you said, he's had to change his. Hey, give the guy credit. He's still opening day pitcher in major leagues, and I've always been a Greinke fan. But I like this. I'm not saying I would stack this Cleveland lineup. I would mini stack this Cleveland lineup. J-Ram Ramirez is my top play of the day. By far, Ramirez is he's my play today. Him and Juan Soto. But Ramirez, let me see, going back, I got to pull back to last year. He crushes righties. I mean, and Greinke, 296 ISO, 3.7 WOBA, but 45% hard hit. I use the hard hit stat a lot. Yeah. Ramirez is your play. And I love the mini stack of Franmil batting cleanup, another righty, but great reverse splits for Franmil, 260 ISO last year against righties. And then Bradley batting 5th, a lefty. You hate to use your first base spot up on a guy like Bobby Bradley, but in a mini stack, you got to get Bradley in there, 205 ISO last year. He's got some pop to him. So I'm going against Greinke here with these Cleveland bats. I like them. And then you got this Quan kid. The kid should be batting 6th. He doesn't have a huge ceiling, but I've watched him a lot in the spring, and he's a pretty exciting kid too. He hit 448 in the spring, two extra base hits. So he's got, in the minors, great OBP skills. So gets on base. He played his way into starting lineup. So Stephen Kwan at 20, there's like 3 or 4 guys you can definitely lock in at minimum price. So you can pretty much use any pitcher you want. But Kwan, I like at 2,200. But if I'm going to mini stack, I'm just going to roll that Ramirez, Bobby Bradley, and Franmil. Those 3 in the middle. But Greinke, to me, Greinke's just he's a soft tosser, gas can. You know what I mean? But he's still a pitcher. He can get people out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the only thing I will say, and because I have to play devil's advocate here, is that one thing that you can kind of like make a little mental note of is that a lot of these guys, these American League batters, have not seen a lot of Greinke. He's been a National League pitcher for a long time. I do think if we're just looking at it from a vacuum standpoint of pure metrics, absolutely the Guardians, the Cleveland team, is that a team you could stack up because these guys have pop. They got speed. J-Ram's obviously excellent. With him being a reverse splits pitcher, obviously someone like Franmil Reyes, like you tabbed him, he's going to be somebody you absolutely want to look at here. But just sometimes you have to kind of get weird when you're looking at more GPP and you're like, well, is this something that could or couldn't happen or whatever it is from a BVP standpoint? I mean, on the other side, if you're playing devil's advocate, Andrew Benintendi, he's actually had some success against Bieber.
Yeah, I see that, right? Good BVP.
Yeah, 17 plate appearances. He has 1 home run, but he's hitting, over 500 on him, 563, and batting 1,000 as far as slugging percentage. So when he does hit him, he's hitting him pretty hard. you want to keep that in mind. Like I said, I hate for us to throw all of our eggs in a basket there, but obviously it's something to mention. I do really like, and then she mentioned on the Cleveland lineup, I do like Ahmed Rosario because I think he actually does have some history seeing Greinke, and he's a guy that does have some sneaky pop, and he could be a sneaky 20-20, 25-25 guy. He has that kind of a potential, and he's batting in the 2-hole right in front of J-Ram. You know he's going to see some pitches. So, I mean.
That's a good call because everybody's going to think Rosario hit lefties better last year, but remember, Greinke's a reverse splits pitcher and struggles against righties. So, good call there. I like that call. $4,200.
I just think that, I mean, from a GPP standpoint, obviously we want to look at some different things on there. But, yeah, I think that pretty much covers this particular game.
Well, I got one question for you then.
Yeah.
Because now going back to the Royal side, Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be very popular. $2,300. We all heard about Bobby Witt. The kid's a stud. The kid's a phenom. He's going to be great. It's a free square. He's going to be mega chalk. But do we need to play – I'm hesitant playing this kid in cash because of Bieber. Once again, you're only going to get Bieber for half the games, and you're going to get a crappy Indians bullpen afterwards.
Yeah. And
I want to play J-Ram too. Is Bobby Witt Jr. a must play? If you're making, I guess the way I look at it, if you're making 1-2 lineups, you probably got to put Witt in it. But if I'm making 3 lineups, I'm not playing Witt in all of them.
I think if you're asking me personally here, which you are, because we're the only 2 on the stream, so you're asking me personally, is his salary really 2.3K? Mm-hmm. Is that real?
Yep.
Okay.
Because they weren't expecting him to make the roster. I have some DK made prices. So I mean, he'll be 5K in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. I think. Man, I don't know if people are really going to be on him, so I don't know if he's going to be chalky or not.
Oh, he's going to be at that price. I think.
I'm just going to say, like, me personally, whenever I'm building, a lot of the things I like to do, especially with teams, is I really like to have a 2 or 3 man stack. I'm not I don't mind playing one-offs in baseball, but for some reason, I just feel like if you can get that 2 or 3 man stack, that's really where you're going to be ahead of the curve instead of getting a lot of one-offs. Because, man, if you have Cleveland exposure and it's only J-Ram, God forbid he gets walked, a couple times. He goes, 0 for 2, couple walks, a run scored. That's not really the return that you wanted. He's going to put up some points for you, but what is that? DraftKings points-wise, that's 4, 5, 6 points, I think. I mean, which isn't bad, but, for 4 plate appearances at 5.6K, you're wanting more of a return than that. You need to get closer to 10 points here. So I think from a salary standpoint, Witt, absolutely. I would love to play him in Benintendi against in my non-Bieber lineups. I think that's super solid. I wouldn't play him. If you're playing Bieber, I see no reason to play Witt too. You can for salary purposes, but I mean, if it makes you feel good, I mean, it's 2.3K. He's never going to be this cheap again until the algorithm, once it catches up with them, but don't be shocked if he comes in and he goes 0 for 4 with a couple strikeouts. That happens sometimes to the best prospects, and they come out and they're still amazing MLB talent, a Hall of Fame talent. But sometimes these guys, you got these no-namers coming out hitting a bomb in their first pitch that they see in the show, and then you come in these other guys that are touted and they struggle.
Yeah, and that'll happen today. Obviously, somebody's got a big game that we hardly even know. Like it was the first game of the NFL season, somebody comes out and has 3 touchdowns or some no-name, but he's going against Bieber, but he's going to be popular because of that price. All right, so enough of the Bobby Witt. So this game pretty much Bieber's a cash play. Lock him into your cash lineup. Then I'll maybe do some fades in GBP though, because he's not going to go the full game. Greinke's a gas can. I like the Cleveland mini stack. I also like Kansas City GBP stack because once Bieber's out of there, it's game on. Cleveland bullpen's horrible.
Okay. Fair enough. Going on, we have Pittsburgh at St. Louis. I think are we dealing with Midwest weather? A little chilly, right?
Yeah, they're talking here. We got cold, windy, wet. Spotty showers, winds blowing out 20 miles an hour. But once again, when it's that cold weather, the ball's not going to travel that much. Right. So it looks like they're going to play through it a little bit of the rain. So we're good to go.
Yeah. Okay. Pitching Adam Wainwright for the Cardinals, JT Brubaker slated to start for the Pirates. Obviously, most of these are going to be divisional matchups today, so I don't need to keep repeating myself there. But Wainwright looks super solid. obviously, as a pitcher today. He's going to get some ownership for sure. He may not be the top owned pitcher, but I would definitely say top 3, top 4 on what he's doing here. And, it's weird. Like he dealt with some injury stuff, and then he kind of started coming back. If you're looking at his last season, his numbers actually looked a lot better. 4.08 xFIP, which is okay, but only a 6.1% walk rate, which is good. He's not striking out a ton of people. His K rate's at like 20%. He's more of a better real life pitcher than anything. So one thing I will mention from a scoring standpoint, FanDuel is really good about getting pitchers with, quality starts, wins, things like that. Those inning eater guys. DraftKings, there's a lot of focus on the scoring for getting strikeouts. So obviously you can have a Max Scherzer type game where the guy's going to go 7-8 innings, give up 2 or 3 runs, but he's going to strike out 10 guys and actually put up a really good performance. So I think Wainwright here needs to kind of hold this Pirates lineup, which has a lot of new faces, new places kind of thing, but they're young guys. There's some guys to like there. St. Louis, I actually do like a lot of the St. Louis hitters here. Brubaker, I'll kind of lead into him, and you can give me your thoughts on this one, Pete. But Brubaker obviously is a right-handed pitcher. He's definitely worse against lefties. 3.55 WOBA, 0.210 ISO. They're hitting him pretty hard, near 40%. But one of the things that I do like about Brubaker here, Pete, is that he has effectively about 4 pitches that he throws. He has a couple of different variations of his fastball. So he seems to be mixing it up where he's not getting completely exposed out there. So he's not totally out of play here either. But there is some good BVP against him. So that's talking about pitching. Give me your thoughts on it before we go into hitting.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought Jose Quintana was going to get the nod for opening day, but it's Brubaker. He's a trash can, but honestly, I'm going to have him in a few GVP lineups because it seems to me anytime the Cardinals are chalk popular, it seems like they let you down. So why not throw Brubaker in a few lineups? And that Cardinal lineup is expensive though too, but they're going to be popular. They're going to be chalky. But I have no problem throwing Brubaker in one line. If I'm making 5-6 lineups, throw Brubaker in a couple. He's got decent K percentage. So, but that's about it. I'm not going to go crazy here on Brubaker. Waino, man, he said he's like an ageless wonder, and he's gotten better over the years. And I was just looking at his stats and you were talking, and he's got 20 innings last year, 3.05 ERA. The season before that, 3.15 ERA, and he deserved this open day. And he's going to eat up innings. Even probably today, you may see him go the most innings out of all the pitchers, which may only be 5, possibly 6. He's not a big K pitcher, but 5 Ks today is a big number. So you may see that today. He's going to be popular. He's probably going to be your SP2 along with Bieber as your catch SP1. But I don't mind this. These Pirates are going to throw out, I'm assuming today they're going to throw out a bunch of left-handed bats. And if somewhere Waino struggles, it's against lefties more than righties. And I love Brian Reynolds. Vogelbach, definitely a one-off, great one-off, I think. If he's probably batting 5th, besides Sugo, probably 4th, 357 Woba last year against righties, 43% hard contact. So, but Waino's your play. But don't, if you want to make a little sneaky stack, throw a stack together with, Key Bryant's back, like Brian Reynolds. And we know Vogelbach can launch one. So they're going to be throwing lefties at Waino.
Yeah, I think that, obviously that's how you're going to attack this guy. It really almost comes down to me is, can they hit the curveball? That's kind of what he's known for. If the curve is on, can they pick it up? Can they hit it? He's got a good curveball. And it kind of comes down to that for me. I know that sounds very just, single-minded or whatever you want to call it, but I think that's kind of like the pitch that he's kind of been known for, like you explained his profile perfectly. I know Yoshi's down there. He's a hitter that I like a lot. He can kind of pick that ball up. Vogelbach's kind of weird. Like, him and the Rowdy Tellez, they get that kind of the similar, the big lefty mashers, right? The big guys. But a lot of times, man, that those guys are swinging and hacking and stuff, and they get struck out. So it wouldn't surprise me if Wainwright, I see two different outcomes. I could see him getting like 5, 6, 7 strikeouts against his team because they're being overly aggressive. But I could also see them kind of starting to touch him up a little bit, hitting him around the ballpark. Like, I don't necessarily think they're going to see a ton of home runs from this lineup, but you never know. I mean, Brian Hayes, like, obviously he's a good, young hitter. Brian Reynolds, he's somebody that I like a lot. You got, these lefties that are just good at hitting righties, like Ben Gamble and Vogelbach we talked about.
Gamble's not a bad little play there either.
Yeah.
But I don't mean to interrupt you, but this Pirate team, there's going to be opportunities this season to stack this team.
Sure.
Diego Castillo kid crushed spring training. He should be batting 6 today. So this is probably not the day, but nice call on Gamble. I think Gamble's a sneaky play. He's got the platoon advantage. He gets on base. But there's a lot of Ks in this Pirate lineup too. So Waino may get, like I said, he may get 6 or 7 here. There's a lot of Ks. But besides Reynolds and Newman, the rest of them all strike out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on the other side of the thing, just touching on the Cards, obviously this is one of the better lineups in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to be right-handed heavy. They're going to be a team. I mean, just from an implied runs total, they're a pretty heavy favorite, I think, today. But, they're about 4.6 on the implied runs. I like a lot of these guys. I think from a stacking standpoint, you could definitely go with a card stack. They are priced up a little bit, which kind of worries me. About about playing them, but then again, it kind of turns back to the GPP standpoint. You probably get them at lower ownership because people don't want to pay, unless they're absolutely against the gas can. But just kind of looking at this bullpen, I was trying to peek on it. The Pirates bullpen has not been good either, and so I think that that's something you can look at. I love stacking against bullpens. I love playing hitters against Baltimore. And even playing Baltimore sometimes against bad bullpens. It's funny that you get, people so focused in on this pitcher. Brubaker, I mean, even if he gets hit around a little bit, you can't probably expect more than about 6 innings from this guy. That's a stretch. So if they get to that bullpen, these hitters, they're going to start smashing. Against righties, they are not good. And, I mean, I'm just pulling in just, different data. I mean, it doesn't seem to be getting much better for them as they go down into the rotation. So
that's
yeah, dude. I mean, I love Dylan Carlson, in the outfield. He's going to be you can do that stack. You can stack Carlson, Goldschmidt, O'Neill, Arenado if you really want to. Or hell, you could play Tommy Edman, man, switch hitter. He's got some pop down there, batting in the 9-hole possibly. Do a little wraparound stack. I like the Cards today. I mean, from a GPP standpoint, mainly because they're priced up and nobody's going to play them. And these guys can hit the ball very hard, and they're playing in I don't know too much about ballpark data in St. Louis, but is that a hitter's park, Pete, or is that somewhere that that we should?
I mean, it's not really considered a hitter's park, but and especially today because of the cold weather. But like I said, against his bullpen and against Brubaker, there's definitely going to be some runs here. Goldschmidt, that's a cheap price too. Actually, I just pulled up the ballpark ratings, and I have them as like the 3rd best ballpark, say, up behind Wrigley and Kauffman Stadium. But once again, it's cold.
Yeah. So there was a question that came in, Pete. I didn't want to interrupt you too much, but in our chat about Gorman projected to start at second base for 2K. Is that correct? I know Hoy Park. I mean, what is he slotted to bat right now? Is that who we're talking about here?
Gorman. I'm
not too sure, but I know Hoy Park is 2K.
Yeah, Park should be leading off.
Yeah, he's projected to lead off against Wainwright here. So I mean, obviously, you can definitely look there for 2K. But we kind of talked about the Pirates and Nolan Gorman. I'll have to look and see.
Yeah, that's news to me. I don't think Nolan Gorman should be starting.
He might be on there right now. What I'm seeing for second base, I'm seeing projected for the Cards. I am looking real quick. It says Tommy Edman.
Yeah, should be Edman.
Yeah. So, I mean, if something changes, we'll go and we'll put it in Discord. So that's the benefit to jumping in there. So
lineups aren't out yet anyway. So
for sure.
Honestly, if Nolan Gorman is starting, well, yeah, actually that might not be. That's right. Something to monitor. Just really quickly, going back, you brought up Dylan Carlson, and Dylan Carlson isn't cheap. But as you were talking, I was going through Brubaker's pitches. Brubaker's mainly, he throws a slider more than anything.
Yep.
And Carlson crushes the slider. 342 Woba, 214 ISO, 44% hard contact. So
Great call.
He's not going to be high owned, leadoff hitter because of his price. Dylan Carlson, great GDP play, I think, against Brubaker, who throws that slider 40%.
And Tyler O'Neill can hit it too. So I think that we talked about that little 1, 2, 3 stack, 2, 3, 4 stack. I will say from a BVP standpoint, just so we do our due diligence here on checking out this game, looks like Arenado has roughly, he has about 12 plate appearances, but he's hit at least one home run off Brubaker, 455. Slugging 1091. So obviously he's somebody there. Yadier Molina's seen him a couple times. He's hit him well. Dylan Carlson's had some success against him. And Tommy Edmonds also seen him over a dozen times. So, I mean, they've seen this guy before. DeYoung hits him well. So from a history standpoint, if you're looking at stacking the Cardinals, I mean, the data points to them that they should touch this kid up. So, I don't have anything else. Anything else in this game?
No, and I actually did, and this is good for future shows. I pulled up the park factors. Actually, I was wrong. Actually, I was reading it wrong. Busch Stadium right now is probably the worst park on the slate, with Chase Field in Arizona as being the best. But once again, it's also first game in April, cold weather. So, but I wouldn't say Busch Stadium because there's that cold weather. I wouldn't say that's a great hitting environment.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on, we got the Mets at the Nationals here, and it looks like we got McGill is pitching here against Corbin. I definitely have some strong stances on Patrick Corbin, but let you lead out on this one, Pete. Tell me about the pitching. Tell me what you think.
I like this game. I wrote some notes down this morning about Tyler McGill because I had so many numbers I was going through my head. I think McGill is in a great spot. Now that the weather is a little bit better, last year McGill did really, really well against righties. Struggled against lefties. This Washington lineup is definitely right-handed heavy. Right. Beside Juan Soto, Josh Bell is a switch here, but it's mostly right-handed heavy lineup. I love the price. He's got strikeout potential, 26% strikeouts last year. Washington struck out, let me see, against righties, 28% strikeout rate against righties. I like McGill a lot here. I think if he pitches around Soto, if he pitches around like a Soto and Bell, there's a lot of Ks in this lineup, man. Thomas will strike out, Robles will strike out. So McGill to me is like a GPP pivot. I'm not saying play McGill in cash because the whole Juan Soto factor, but I think McGill is a nice GPP pivot off of Wainwright as like your SP2 for GPPs. So he's in a great spot. The problem is he did not go over 5 innings, I don't think, at all last year. And I seen so many of his games last year where he was pitching really well, and then he would just get explode in the 5th inning or implode 4th, 5th inning. So I think he's in a good spot. But man, Juan Soto is in a great spot against him. He's the one guy that can definitely crush McGill. But I think McGill's a good spot for GPPs. Yeah. And
surprisingly, I mean, from a BVP standpoint, Soto hasn't had a bunch of success against him, but all the data points, I mean, it's only like 5 plate appearances, but all the data points that this dude should just mash this kid. I mean, I'm just saying, like, from a pitch data standpoint, a heat map standpoint, everything lines up for Juan Soto here. The stars are aligned, so expect the ownership to be on him for sure today. But since we're talking about pitching, before we jump right into the hitters, let's talk real quick about Patrick Corbin, and then we can talk about the Mets hitters first, and then we'll round it out with Soto and the rest of the Washington guys. So Patrick Corbin, tell me what you think about him, because I want to tell you, like, this is a guy that I'm very, he's very polarizing for me because he's won me money and lost me money.
Oh, so,
yeah.
He's like, to me, he's like the ultimate GVP pitcher. I mean, he's going to get his strikeouts. The last year, he only had 18% strikeouts, but I guess if you go back the last 3 seasons, it jumps up to like 24%. But he does, and he struggles against righties. That's his kryptonite is righties. low strikeout rate against Rays, 30% strikeout against lefties, so great against lefties.
Yeah.
He could. I mean, he could get 7 or 8 Ks today, but it's a tough spot. He's going to get. He usually gets a long leash, especially if he's pitching okay. Corbin got the longest leash of everybody today. Definitely, you can't play the guy in cash. I mean, I think it was the best actually last year that he had that one game he gave up like crap load of runs in the first inning. It was like last May, but GDP only. He's got the ability, decent exit the last 3 years, 405, which is not terrible. But just know, I mean, this Mets lineup. I mean, guys like Alonso. We'll get hit in a second, but he could go either way. I mean, he could rock the slate, but he could also get rocked like big time.
Yeah, I mean, God, this guy. Just from a data standpoint, he is abysmal against right-handed hitters, but he's actually really good against lefties, and he gets strikeouts. Sure. What's crazy is he has a 24.7% K rate against lefties, mainly because he has kind of this wipeout slider, this fastball that has that sinking action on him, and lefties just have a really tough time against him. And honestly, like Brandon,
really in this lineup.
Yeah, the Squirrel, Jeff McNeil, those guys, they're pretty good left-handed hitters. Like they're scrappers, right? They have pop too, but Corbin's, man, he's always done really well against lefties here. But I think that this is a spot, man, where you're going to go against some mashers. I mean, Pete Alonso's a monster. Yeah. You know, JD Davis. They got
Escobar.
Starling Marte there now. God, that's right from right-handers. Yeah, Escobar. Obviously, Canna's got pop there, and they got a good hitting catcher, McCann. So yeah, I think he's going to have a tough time. I'll be honest today. Like he hasn't shown me enough to where I'm like, this guy's just going to absolutely just dominate these guys here. But I think that, they're going to get this slider, they're going to get this fastball. Like he tends to throw, he tries to keep the ball to the outside part of the plate. If that ball gets anywhere towards the middle of the zone, Alonso's going yard for sure. Marte is going to hit him hard. I mean, this is a scary spot, man. Like he can definitely pay you off because if he gets through that lineup twice and gets him, 6, 7 Ks or whatever it is. I mean, he's only 6.7 K. Yeah, dude, this guy polarizing for sure. From the Mets standpoint, I like all the righties. I love Lindor here. I think he's going to have a bounce back year.
I do too.
I think that. They got a solid lineup, man. And I'm feeling really good about. There's some good hard hitters. I think this is one of those games where if you're playing the Mets and you really want to get different, you start putting the bottom of that lineup.
Escobar's my favorite, maybe one of my favorite plays of the day. Escobar batting should be batting 6. McCann always is hit lefties. I mean, decent hitting catcher, always hit lefties. But I love Escobar. 228 ISO, 346 WOBA, doesn't strike out. Decent. I mean, 46% hard hit against lefties last 3 years. I love Eduardo Escobar today. Batting 6. He's probably my favorite. I can't come up value. I think he's like 4-1, but I love Escobar.
JD Davis is batting in the 5 hole. He's 2.6 K, Pete. It's kind of funny.
I see a bounce back from him this year too.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of funny, but he's also third base, and like sometimes that third base spot is going to be one of your premier players, so it's going to be tough today. There's going to be some decisions to be made, but yeah, love that. For time purposes, going over to the national side, hitting. We talked about McGill a little bit earlier. Obviously, we love Soto. You got Boomstick, Nelson Cruz hitting in that 3-hole projected, and obviously Josh Bell switch hitter at the 4 spot. Kyber Ruiz, I expect a big bounce back. Yeah, I hope. I reached on him a little bit in our YFC season-long draft. So give me your quick thoughts on the Nationals hitters here against McGill.
I mean, if I'm pretty much looking at that little 3-man stack in the middle with Boomstick, Josh Bell, and Soto, I do like Ruiz. Besides that, though, I think Carlos Hernandez may be popular because he's leading off. Cesar Hernandez. He's minimum price, I believe.
Yeah.
So I think why am I seeing him? He should be leading off today, right? I'm not seeing him.
He's projected. I have him projected to lead off right now.
Okay. And I know he's minimum price, so he's in a decent spot though, maybe for cash games. But if anything, I'm looking at that Bell Soto Boomstick little mini stack against McGill. Once again, McGill's probably only go 4 or 5, so he'll be struggling. And then again, that Mets bullpen, which isn't a bad bullpen actually. But I'm not really on Washington today except Soto. I think Soto and J Ram are the 2 big bats. I want pretty much most of my lineups today.
Agree, and obviously, don't make sure you guys don't sleep on Victor Robles. He was kind of the reason why the Nationals were okay giving up Bryce Harper. This was pre-Juan Soto, so he was a touted prospect, obviously in center field. And he's batting in the 9 hole. He hasn't really been good at the plate, been good defensively. So maybe he could show us something here. We'll have to see. But so. We got a couple games left here, 3 games. So we're going to move on, Pete. Cincinnati at Atlanta. You got Tyler Mahle versus Max Fried, a couple of pretty good pitchers from a major league standpoint here. I think that Fried, $9K, that's a tough price tag, but that's on DK, obviously. To me, he's a better FanDuel pitcher, but I still like him a lot here. I do think that the Cincinnati lineup, obviously you got some guys on there that can hit for sure, but I think Fried, from a pitching standpoint, just so everybody is aware, he is a little bit of a reverse splits guy too, but he's actually pretty good at both sides of the plate. He's not dependent on one or the other. 352 xFIP last couple seasons, 23.4% K rate. Obviously, one of his best qualities is his ground ball rates, over 50% at 52, and his fly ball rate is only 27%. This guy keeps the ball down, keeps it in the ballpark. So I think that's why he's taken the mound today for Atlanta. I like him a lot here. What do you think about Max Fried?
My problem, Fried is one of those guys I think that's a better, great pitcher. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a better real life pitcher, especially that price. I can't play Max Fried at that price. Now this Cincinnati lineup is not scary at all. So I mean, just get that out of the way. I mean, there's not one guy I think that had an ISO over 200 beside Kyle Farmer. So against lefties, so the price stinks. But you also don't stack against him. So he's not a 100 pitch guy. He never has been. So to me, Fried is more like if I'm making 10 lineups, he may be in 3 of them because of the price. He could go out and crush. He's a good pitcher, but I just can't. He's just too expensive when you got guys like Ohtani, and Bieber at 8,300. I'm not going to pay this much for Max Fried. But once again, I'm not going to stack against him either.
I agree, and I like the fact we'll talk about pitchers and then the hitters right after. That seems to be flowing a little bit better. But yeah, Cincinnati is all GPP for me. Obviously, I could see, they have a pretty high K rate against lefties. 27% is what this lineup is projecting. Obviously, you got guys that will not strike out that are going to put the ball into play. Jonathan India is pretty decent at keeping the ball into play, but it's going to go on the ground, so he's going to have to use his speed there. You talked about Kyle Farmer down at the bottom, Nick Senzel, obviously former touted prospect, but some of these guys could just, Joey Votto near 30% K rate, Aquino near 30%, Tyler Naquin near 30%, Tommy Pham over 20%. So there could be some strikeouts in here. If he gets to this lineup a couple times, gets seven strikeouts, 6 innings pitched, gets around 80, 85, 90 pitches. He's an efficient pitcher, so he's going to pitch. So I think that he could definitely move through this lineup. So GPP only, like Pete said, I agree with that for the Reds. Other side of the hill, we got Tyler Mahle versus Atlanta here, awaiting the return of Ronald Acuna. It's something we did mention earlier, Pete, but these pitchers in the National League do not have the advantage of going against a opposing pitcher at the plate.
Good point.
So, no free K. So you got the DH rule now for both sides. So Mahle, just to give you the stats, and I'll let you lead into him and then the bats, but he does have a good strikeout rate, man. 27% last couple seasons, 11.7% strike rate. He is obviously a reverse splits pitcher as well, better against lefties, but he can get hit pretty hard from both sides of the plate. Gives up a few too many walks for my preference. He's kind of a fly ball pitcher just based off of his pitch type. He throws a 94-mile-per-hour fastball over half the time. So his off-speed pitch is a slider. It's decent. It's not great. But, he throws hard. So if he throws hard and these Braves make contact, he's going to be in some trouble. But he could get some strikeouts for sure. What do you think about him?
I kind of like Mahle here because of price. First of all, he's a big dog. I like that. $7,700 is playable, especially compared to a 9,300 free.
He's a big dog. Is that what you called him?
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta's a $200. I mean, 200.
Oh, he's a big
Atlanta
dog. I thought you were commenting on his physical stature.
No,
because you can tell me the guys that you like, but let's keep it to stats, Pete. Okay.
So the big underdog. I'm looking at his stats quick. He's actually the best pitcher on his slate against lefties. 270 WOBA allowed, 257 FIP. Worst pitcher probably against righties though. One of the worst. 499 WOBA, 357 WOBA, I think at 499 FIP, something like that. But definitely splitsy pitcher. This Braves lineup though, they will strike out. They will strike out against right-handers. He can go either way. Like I said, he definitely GVP pitcher. He could get slaughtered here, but I think I've always been a Mully guy. I think he's got talent, especially the strikeout. He's both sides, 26% strikeout or more.
Yeah.
But once again, it's the Braves, so you can't go crazy. Can't play him in cash. But I think there's some K's in that lineup, right? Olsen, Riley, Duvall, especially Duvall, all over 30% strikeout rate. Olsen 23 though, but most of the guys, Abon, Orr, Swanson, Denard, all those guys are over 25% strikeout rate against righties. So he's going to get some strikeouts save. He may give up a couple runs, as we'll say. I think Matt Olson's another smash spot today too, one of our top guys. But don't sleep on Tyler Moss today. If you're multi-entering, making GVPs, I'm going to play him. I can definitely get into him, dig him. He's going to be unpopular because everybody's going to be going toward those Atlanta bats in Atlanta.
Yeah, he's a big dog, like Pete said. So man, I agree with you. He's got definitely some strikeout potential, mainly because this lineup is going to be swinging. He would be a guy I would definitely look to target on like a PrizePicks site or something like that, prop bet wise for strikeouts. Because if he gives up a couple runs, like they're gonna keep him out there. Let him throw some pitches. It just the thing about this Atlanta lineup, they'll hit you hard, but they also strike out a lot still. So if they're undisciplined, it is what it is. It's funny because they bring in a guy like Matt Olson, to kind of replace Freeman here, essentially. And that guy, he has horrible plate discipline too. So I wonder if they just looked at all the mashers that are going to strike out a lot, and they're like, hey, you know what, you fit this lineup perfectly, so we're going to bring you on here. So. Yeah, Atlanta, GPP, obviously, if you're going against Molly here, they could still pay you off, even if they strike out. They get a couple bombs.
Oh, yeah, but I think Olsen, man, he couldn't have asked for a better – I'm not a Braves fan. I know a lot of Braves fans upset about losing free money for Eddie, but you could not ask for a better park upgrade from Matt Olsen to go to from Oakland to this Braves. This stadium was built for Freddie, for that left-handed power, that short right field porch. I could see Olsen hitting 45 to 50 home runs this year. And he had a huge spring. So I'm all over Olsen. Definitely.
My only issue with him today is 5.7K. So that's he's GPP for me just at that price because he is kind of a boom bust play on there. But I agree with you.
No, I agree. Yep. He can strike out 3 times today too. So
yeah, he might. So that being said, we're going to move on to the best team in baseball and, the best team to stack, the Houston Astros. There's no bias in there, I promise you, at all. Just play all Astros and we can end the show, Pete, right? That's all we need to do is just kind of go there. No, I'm just kidding.
I think you're sneaky.
Yeah, absolutely. They're one of my favorite GPP teams. No surprise there. But I will say, Ohtani, man, he's a people are like, oh, no, he's a better hitter. Like, this guy's a really good pitcher, too. This guy strikes out batters near 30%, and he's going to get to be at the plate, too. And he's a gamer, man. When he gets a chance to pitch, he just brings it. And the Astros, on the other hand, they don't really strike out a lot. So this is going to be a kind of, immovable force versus an unstoppable object, or I think it was an immovable object, right? Yep, unstoppable force. I got my thing switched up here. But, this just should be a really good matchup. You got Framber Valdez on the other side. Lance McCullers is still having arm issues, which is not good for us there. He's always hurt, man. So we're probably not going to see him till midsummer, something like that, more than likely here. But, okay, so I'm going to lead here just because I follow the Astros. I follow this Houston team a lot. I will say that I think Ohtani is going to have a little bit of success here. Astros have traditionally not started great. They've been a great, second half team that they tend to get the bats going a little bit late here. So I do worry about that. But what I will say is that I think they can absolutely put the ball in play. I think I would not rely on Ohtani to be like my, my guy. I mean, 7K is a great price for him. I think he's going to be owned because of the strikeout potential. So I think that this is one of the games that you could actually play some Astros and you can play some Ohtani at pitcher at 7K, and you would actually probably be okay. So I think that he can return some value. He's probably about 2X. I think you could see 13 to 15 points, closer to 20 if he gets a couple more strikeouts, because at the bottom of that lineup, unfortunately, McCormick, Pena, and Maldonado, they will all swing and miss. Other than that, the Astros are pretty disciplined. Jordan, he's working on it, getting better there. So I do like Ohtani here. What do you think about him in the Astros lineup here? Because I do like them as a sneaky stack.
I like the Astros a lot as a sneaky stack. And GBPs, Ohtani's gonna be popular. I'm not on the Ohtani boat as much as others, mainly because I think there's huge pitch count concerns with him. He's definitely not going to go over 90 pitches. Houston historically does not strike out. Very, very patient offense. I like the comment you made though about Houston starting out slow, and they do seem to start out slow every year. But you can't beat the price. So I mean, Ohtani is not one of my top 2 pitchers. He's up there, but I mean, especially with the price. But I'm not in love with him. I'm not playing him in my cash lineup. I could see him going 4 innings getting pulled. And then I could definitely jump on this Houston offense as a great sneaky stack, because a lot of people will be off him, people will be using Ohtani. And I'm a huge Bregman guy. Kyle Tucker, I took him the 6th pick in our season long this year as my first. That's how much I have faith in Kyle Tucker, and I used to be anti Kyle Tucker when he first came up. So
right.
I like
with the DH rule now. They don't have to stretch Ohtani on the mound, right? I mean, he can just stay at DH and just hit the rest of the game. I mean, he's leading off for these guys. So you talked
exactly.
About. I would love for him to only go 4 to get his, because I own him in my in our league. But I think if Houston can get to that bullpen, man, they could do some damage. They're not very good against right-handers, and they've seen a lot of those Angels pitchers. So that's why I think we both like them, right? Is because essentially once you get past Ohtani, you don't have anything behind him.
Yep. I just like the Astros. I think Astros is one of those great team, great organization. I could stack them every day, and you're going to be successful more than you won't. I like Valdez on Ariano too, though. I mean, ground ball pitcher. I mean, so he throws that fastball that kind of sinks.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't think this LA lineup is that deep. Pitch count concerns even with him though. But it's Mike Trout day. Trout's back. But besides Trout and Rendon, I mean, I could see Valdez. I mean, mowing right through this lineup. I mean, just pitch around Trout and Rendon, right? I mean, what else is there? Max Stassi. Stassi's probably the 3rd best pitcher on the slate. I mean, 3rd best batter on that team right now. The right-handed batting 5th.
He's Framber being sub 8K. I definitely like him a lot. This Angels lineup, obviously, you can always play Mike Trout. You can always, I guess, I don't know how they're doing it with Ohtani. I have to really check this out. I didn't look too much on the DK and how that works as far as a hitter, but I mean, it looks.
He's not a hitter today in DK.
That's so stupid, man. They should just make 2 different player cards for him. I guess their system couldn't handle that or whatever it is, but. I know on like Yahoo leagues and things like that for season long that they have a player Ohtani and they have a pitcher Ohtani. So that makes more sense. But, albeit what it is, Astros, they've upgraded their bullpen. So I feel a lot better going into the season. Obviously, the Angels have some pop. We're in LA, so obviously a little bit later start time for us for the Astros. They're going to be in the Central. So, yeah, I mean, definitely love them in a GPP stack here. I think for the Angels hitters, you can play an Ohtani Trout mini stack here. You can throw Walsh in there. He's not somebody I really like. I'd rather get to Rendon. He's hitting in the 4 spot. So, but one guy I do like, and I picked him up with high hopes, is Joe Adell. He's been one of their better prospects. I think that guy, if he can put it together, man, he's going to get some with no Upton out there. He's going to get more everyday at bats. He's batting 6th, which is really nice. I think he's the guy that they would love to have at the one spot leading off. If he can get some plate discipline, obviously that would be something. That's Ohtani's just good at seeing pitches, so obviously that's why he's batting up top, and they get him more at bats there. But yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much sums it up. Like, I love the Stros. I love Kyle Tucker. He should have a big year. I mean, it's a scary lineup in the sense that, you got Altuve, Tucker, Bregman, and Jordan, and even Yuli right there. Then you got Brantley in the 6th hole. Those top 5 hitters all have power. So, we'll have to see what happens here. The Astros are going to shuffle some stuff around this year, probably lineup-wise, and great GPP game here, man. But, yeah, I don't have anything else there. We can kind of move on if you're ready to go. I will say there was a trade for open on the show. The Twins got Chris Paddock and Emilio Pagan from Padres. Yeah. Taylor Rogers went, and then I think Rooker also went back to the Padres. Chris Paddock's a really good pitcher. I was kind of surprised to see that, but I think that they've kind of been adding arms and whatnot. So, we, anything on this game, or are you ready to go to this last game and wrap this thing up?
No, let's move on, because I like this game too.
All right. Love it. I love attacking Mad Bum here. Haven't been a fan of him the last couple of years. Love you, Darvish, here today. He is 9.5K. But I think he's probably the most likely pitcher to go, I don't know, to get 6 innings, to throw close to 100 pitches. He always profiles really well. Obviously, he's a 5-6 type pitcher. He throws them all. He's in a really good spot here, obviously, against this Arizona lineup, who I don't love at all. And I don't think, he's pretty splits neutral. So with that being said, from a Yu Darvish standpoint, before we get into Mad Bum and close the show out, Arizona hitters, Yu Darvish, 30% K rate. This lineup is projecting a 30% K rate, so we should definitely see some strikeouts here today. What are you thinking?
Darvish right now is probably my favorite pitcher on the slate. My problem is if I'm playing cash, I'll probably still go with the Bieber Waino. But man, I want to play Darvish. I just think that Darvish, everybody's talking about 2021 like it was a horrible season for Darvish, and it really wasn't. If you look at his peripherals, they're much better than when you first look. 29% K rate. He had a Sierra. Definitely. His home run fly ball rate was up, but when he still got 29% strikeout rate, strikeout to walk rate over 20% second half. Still, that's a pretty good second half. And he did limit the long ball toward the end of the season. Yeah. And he strikes out a lot of people. Good spring. He only allowed 3 runs on 2 home runs in 11 innings in the springtime, struck out 14, and now he faced a D-back offense that's, they struck out 25% against righties. I think he's going to mow through this lineup. I think he pitched 4 innings, 4.1 or 4.2 his last start in the spring. Right. Should give us 5, maybe 6. He may be the one pitcher today that gets enough innings for a win. I like Darvish a lot today. He's definitely my top GBP. I may even sneak him in there in cash. But I just think you have the BVPs in front of you. I think a couple of these D-backs have some decent BVPs. Yeah. Like Christian Walker and Peralta.
Ketel Marte, David Peralta, and Christian Walker. Really not so much Walker. He's been decent against them. He's hits him about 1 every 3 times. He's like 5 for 15 or 5 for 17, something like that, with a couple walks.
Pitch around Marte. Marte's my guy. But you pitch around Marte, he's going to go.
Yeah. I was going to say, I love Marte too. I think, yeah, exactly. You pitch around that guy, speed, hitting combo, obviously. I think that he's definitely going to have some success against him. What I will say is that, you have that Marte Peralta stack, obviously, just like we talked about earlier in the show against Bieber, with the Witt Benintendi. If you really want a mini stack and you're not playing Darvish, for sure, I'm okay with that. I would say from a pricing standpoint, looking at it, let's see, Marte's at 4.7, which isn't horrible. Peralta's only 3.2. So
Barshaw's not bad.
Yeah, he's projected low ownership. You could do a lot worse there. He could absolutely get a goose egg here against Yu Darvish. But yeah, I think that the Arizona, nobody's going to play these guys. So obviously you can if you want. But I agree with Pete. I've always been a Yu Darvish stan. I've always thought that he's a good pitcher for DFS purposes. He's just a professional pitcher. He knows how to put it together. He's been doing this a long time. There's a reason he's got the ball on opening day, is because He can pitch in any environment. He's not worried about, ballpark and whatnot. If I'm looking at it just from a metric standpoint alone, I think he can get hit a little bit and he can absolutely still, strike out his way into a good DFS return and absolutely return 2x on his price tag there. So
I am going to throw an Arizona stack together though too. If I'm all in on Darvish, you got to hedge a little bit, and I have no problem doing a Varsho, Marte, Peralta, Walker. Remember one time Walker and Peralta, they were the next best thing with Pollock there. But I have no problem doing a little stack there. Pavin Smith could be a fun little stack, but that's only if you're making 6+ lineups.
Yeah, and Varsho's leading off there. He actually, from a batted ball data standpoint, Darvish likes to keep the ball low, but he moves it all around. But Varsho can hit that low pitch there, and he's got a pretty decent ISO against righties.
He does 223, right? So he gets some speed too.
I think hard hit rate over 50%, which is like, okay, this guy's got some pop. So yeah, you can hedge it back on there. Let's close this out with the Mad Bum here against San Diego, which is they're probably gonna get a majority of the ownership here. Obviously, on the bat standpoint, I'm seeing a lot of high-owned guys. Manny Machado is probably one of the reasons why I think I talked about earlier why you're not going to play a JD Davis at third base is because you want to play Machado against Mad Bum here. So, Mad Bum almost 5.40 xFIP. That's not good, ladies and gentlemen. High fly ball rate, 43%, low ground ball rate, 33%. Is not really striking out guys, less than 20% here. He's really bad against righties. He's had some success against left-handed hitters, but you're talking about Machado. You're talking about Luke Voit, Will Myers, Nola.
Check out Myers' BBP. I think he's got a bunch of home runs on Bum, don't he? He might not have a high average, but I think he's got a bunch of dongs against him.
Yeah, he has 6, actually. Right. He's seen the guy, 68 plate appearances, 6 home runs, only hitting 232, but slugging 607 against him. So
good spot.
I think that the guy batting 5th here, 3.4K, you really can't beat that. I'd actually probably rather play him than Peralta at that price range, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Oh, no, I definitely. Yeah. I might have Myers and maybe even in the cash lineup.
I agree. He's probably
Macho, Voit, Myers, good little, mini stack right there.
There you go. But from like we talked about BVP standpoint, obviously, Myers has great BVP here. Unfortunately, they don't have Tatis here. Machado hasn't had the best Mad Bum, looks like BVP splits, but I think that, he's profiling well. He's still hitting at an elite level, in my opinion. And he's got some protection around him. Obviously, you got some lefties in Cronenworth and Grisham, but I feel like Machado is one of those guys that he's just a cocky hitter, and he's going to want to put on a show here opening day. Tatis isn't in the lineup, so obviously he needs to show up here for his team.
Yep. Time.
He's got to do it today, I think. So he's going to project for a lot of ownership guys. He's the guy that I think that in cash lineups you're probably going to have to just play just because of the fact that, Mad Bum is so bad against right-handed hitters, and Machado actually has some really good stats from a WOBA standpoint. He's going to take some walks. Like, he's going to get on base. He's going to hit the guy hard. So, if you have any Mad Bum thoughts or any lasting Padre thoughts, we kind of talked a little bit about them. You mentioned Will Myers. I think that's going to be a great call. I don't know if he's going to be cored on other sites or not, but just looking at that price tag, Pete, knowing that he has home run potential at 3.4K, he's going to be somebody I'm probably going to be putting in my main lineup. What do you think about this lasting thoughts of the lineup and Mad Bum?
We all know. One thing about Mad Bum, he's a battler. We've seen him with he'll go out and throw a no hitter today. If he's on, and he can still pitch the lefties. But I'm all over. Myers. We'll give our top couple plays here in 1 second. But Myers is gonna be one of my top couple plays. So I'm sure value play like Machado. I still like J Ram though. Bumgarner's gonna get hit. Pod, I like the slate. I really do. It seems like every team are saying they're gonna be popular, and they all can't be popular. So this slate may not be as chalky as we think. I like it. I think it's a perfect size slate for opening day.
I love it, man. Yeah, for sure. I think that with opening day, be smart. about what you're playing. Obviously, we talked about this a little bit in our Discord. Hedge some stuff, play a couple different lineups if you can, and just keep an eye out in our Discord. And we dropped the link down there in the chat. You can definitely get in and free. Man, try it out, man. You can't beat $25. You're going to make your money back probably in the first day or second, maybe. But I think that, that's just something, from our standpoint, we're going to be trying to do these shows daily. Obviously, we're going to have cores coming in there, GPP cores, personal cores from our coaches and whatnot. And yeah, Pete, I think for time purposes, like I said, we'll try to keep it a little bit shorter, but get our intros down. But man, I'm excited about MLB. I'm excited about this slate. It's not overwhelming. We got some good pitching, some good hitting, some lasting thoughts. Give me your kind of your top plays just off the top of your head, and somebody you feel is going to go yard, because we're going to have to have some kind of a little friendly bet we talked about.
We're going to have a bet. Well, maybe we'll start that tomorrow.
We're going to keep a list of who's our pick to go yard today. And then so you give me your top plays first, and then you can save your home run pick. I'll give you mine. I'll give you my home run pick first because I'm such a nice guy. I'll go first. So yeah, who's your top plays today?
I like J-Ram is probably one of my top overall plays. Will Myers is probably maybe like my top. I guess you'd call Myers a value. I'm not going to get into that Bobby Witt stuff because he's going to be so popular. Yeah, so probably Will Myers and J-Ram. I'm just struggling at third base, but I know Machado's going to be really good too. But I think I'm leading J-Ram. J-Ram, Soto, and Will Myers.
Cool, man. Yeah, I have to say, I mean, just looking at it now, Will Myers for sure. I think at that price tag, so I have to agree with you on that. I'm going to definitely probably be playing Soto just because I love Soto, and I think that the data backs it up. And I'm a data guy. I don't really like to look too much at BVP in these certain circumstances, but love that there. And honestly, I really feel like I'll say I'm going to lean more towards GPP here because I think we're going to cover cash, but I really like Franmil Reyes too from that same
that name was just coming out of my mouth as soon as you said it.
I know you're a big tout of that guy. I know you love him, and just the power this guy has against Greinke here, who's a reverse splits pitcher. I'm like, this guy, he's not my pick. I mean, I'll be honest with you because I want to kind of get out there. I want to get someone that I feel like, man, this guy's absolutely going to hit a bomb today. But I personally am going to pick today for my home run pick. I think, and I would just want to be 100% certain on this. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think I'm going to have to go Pete Alonso today, man. He's going to be my guy. He's not going to be super out there, but I just think that the numbers, man, this guy, he should match Corbin today. I don't know. I mean, he's who I like, so I'm going with Pete Alonso.
No problem that call at all. I want to go Franmil too, but I think Juan Soto to me is in the best spot to hit one. Even though I like McGill, but McGill's not going to be in there past for Soto. Soto's my home call.
You actually took my other guy. That's who I was debating between. So he was kind of like, I got to get him. So he's my guy. He's my pick in season long. So I need him to show up today. But cool, man. Pete, hey, I appreciate you. Appreciate you guys listening in. Obviously, live viewers as well. But you guys, we're going to have this on our socials. Be sure to give us the like and subscribe, that thumbs up on whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch or whatever it is that you're going to see it on. You have the Discord links below. Obviously, reach out to us on Twitter if you have questions, or in the Discord at YFC Sports Pete, at YFC Sports V12 from the YFC team. Pete, any lasting thoughts?
No, just check out our promo, $25 a month, like you said. We will start on time tomorrow. I didn't hit start broadcast. We talked for 10 minutes just between the two of us, I guess. But tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern. And then after that, at 11 a.m., we're going to have a Formula One show with me and Chris Besh talking about Formula One for Sunday morning race. And sweet. I'm good, bro.
All right, man. Happy opening day, guys.
All right,
good luck. YFC, we're out.